So I want to let you know where our show stood on this entire
Yeah.
thing, especially after finding out about Bo Dawson. I told a story about how I was not in the football world. I was in the soccer world. I would show up on Friday nights, and there was one game where I hit a kickoff out of bounds or something like that. In frustration, I took my helmet and I slammed it off the ground. And our defensive coordinator, Frank Sacco, who was a little bit of a hard-ass coach, grabbed me basically and said, "Hey, you don't ever do that to your helmet, okay? The helmet is basically your lifeline out here on the field." And I remember it for the rest of my life. But also, coaches have a certain obligation to its players to make and mold better humans. In the football world, I've been very lucky to experience that, to see that. I'm also a little bit of a chirpy guy, so I've had that interaction with a lot of coaches and people in my life. You obviously went super viral for it. I heard your response to it. I want to let you know on our side, it was like, hey, that's football. That can happen every once in a while. 2021, though, everybody's saying you got to be different. Where are you right now? How is Bo Dawson? Your statement about it was incredible. What is your entire mindset of this as you kind of shape yourself going forward as a head coach?
Well, I'm disappointed in myself. There's so many opportunities as a leader, as a football coach, and you guys know this, where you can take a situation and make it better. Unfortunately, there's opportunities where you take situations and you can make them worse. And I really work hard with these young people. They're incredible young men. I have great coaches. It's a neat community. And I work hard on trying to identify each situation and say, okay, how can I make this better? And that ranges from on-campus stuff to in-game stuff, emotional stuff, connections with players and parents. It goes on and on and on. And in this instance, I had a really great opportunity to make a situation better, and I whiffed. I allowed a couple personal fouls that happened beforehand by different players. I thought we were losing discipline as a team. Bo's an emotional player, and all of a sudden I single him out instead of letting it breathe. If there's a term that I've gone back in my head over and over and over again that I'm usually pretty good at, is let a situation breathe for a little bit before you address it. I didn't do that. I feel worse for the player because somehow, I don't know how this happened. He at times he's been labeled the culprit here, and there's not a coach in America that wouldn't want this kid to play for him. He is everything you were looking for in a student athlete. He's everything you're looking for as a team leader, as a player. And unfortunately, because I didn't let a situation get better, I allowed it to get worse. He's unfortunately taken some heat, and that's the thing I feel most awful about.
Do you think it could be part of the reason why maybe you responded to him even though he didn't have the personal fouls, because you knew like he was this solid of a guy and he could take this and be all right?
That would be an excuse. I love this kid like my own. I've known him since he was born. We've had tons of great experiences together, but that would be an excuse if I use that. At this point, if I could say anything, it's that I want to be a great leader. I want to be a great football player. I want to treat all my players with a great deal of love and respect, and also coach them hard and help them become better young men. And I think the good thing that's coming out of this, if there's good that can come out of it, is I was able to model to this group of young men the next day as we talked openly and honestly about the situation, said, the hardest thing I've had to do in my life is as a dad to 3 daughters, have to sit them down when I've broken their hearts, when I've done something in our family that has saddened them or hurt their hearts, and look in their eyes and ask for their forgiveness and apologize and ask them what I can do with my actions moving forward to make it better. And I sat with my team and I asked them the same question. I said, this is hard, guys, but you're going to do this as fathers one day. You're going to do this as men. You're not going to be the leader you want to be at times. You're not going to do the things you want to do at times. And you're going to have to go to the people that you've wronged and ask for their forgiveness and humble yourself. And that's what I'm doing now. And hopefully our boys learn a valuable lesson from this and we can move forward, because I know that we have a special thing going as a football team. And this is a unique group of kids and coaches that will somehow take a hard thing and turn into a good thing. That's kind of been our MO. And I'm just sad that I'm the reason I caused the hard thing to be harder. And that's not my place. My place is to make hard things easier for them.
I appreciate the way you're looking at this and viewing this, but I think any human that ever played football before saw that moment and said, oh, okay, that either happened to me or a friend of mine. And I don't know Bo, okay, but you're only doing that to somebody you actually care about and think that they could actually change, and they're not performing to their absolute best either as a player or a human at that moment. Did you see the world calling for you to never ever coach a football game though before? Did you see that? That's what and I guess I don't like to blame, the internet for anything because we live on the internet, but it does feel like there are situations like this that happen all of a sudden, and people that have never been on a team sport or had a coach care about them before, or ever have this moment while you're still in high school and shaping your entire future still at this point, both as a person and as a player. I mean, there's a lot going on. There's a lot that coaches are being tasked with doing. Did you see the reaction, or have you just tried to stay out of that and just deal with your team as you have to deal with it?
I've tried to deal with my team, Pat. I don't play around in the social media world that much. We use it to promote our program and use it for goodness. I made a point when I was back at ESPN and just saw the toxicity of social media.
Ty and Connor.
Big word, right? I don't know if I even said it right, but
toxicity.
I wanted to use it for good. We try really hard here. My family, my girls are active. To try to use it for good. So I avoided that part of it and really tried to stay focused on our tribe. And I am sure every coach says this, and it's going to sound like coach speak, but we work really, 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 really hard on culture around here. We're very transparent. We're very honest. We talk about really hard things as a group. We call ourselves a human development program, Mass's high school football team. And when we make mistakes, we deal with them together. So we've tried really hard to deal with this together this week. The kids have been amazing. The coaches have been amazing. So I've tried to keep the negativity out of it and just stay focused on how to heal and how to move forward.
What'd Phil Dawson say?
He's been really good, man. He's been one of my best friends for years. It's been hard just because, they have to see their kid have to be part of this show. And that's, you can imagine how hard that would be, but they're incredible people. That's why they've been friends for so long, and they're working on the healing process like I am. So it couldn't be a better situation after a bad situation for moving forward.
Well, I appreciate your accountability and ownership here. That's why you're an incredible coach. Don't ever lose that passion. Maybe let it breathe next time is what you're saying. If that happened to
it's kind of the answer to everything I'm learning with this coaching thing is just let it breathe.
So, like if AJ was coaching my kid and my kid had that moment with him, I want to let you know, I'd go, now Phil and you are very tight, but I would go up to AJ and I'd say, hey, AJ, like, obviously little Midas Michael would fucking deserve that, but let's not push him all the way. Yeah. Is there any, have you gone back and thought to yourself, without losing your mind there, do you still get the point across? And I think that is the balance of coaching, right? How do you, especially when you're dealing with teenagers, that's a tough thing. I'll never be able to do it. I appreciate what you're doing for the future of America and coaching and everything like that. But I sometimes, I needed it when I was a kid. I was a fucking asshole. I needed that type of thing to happen from some people. I think it helped me. Rich Rodriguez is a guy that he had to do it to me and to other guys. And I'm not saying that, he did anything across the line, but I feel like there are some people in some kids, and I was one of those kids, so I feel like I was much more understanding to the situation maybe than anybody else. Do you figure out a way now, scout yourself, if something needs to be done and said, how will I go about doing it? And how do you still stay emotionally invested and passionate while curtailing it? That's just a tough thing, I think.
It's a great question because I think one of the things that I've really tried hard to do is create an edge with our football team. As you guys know, to play this game at a high level, you have to have an edge to you. And but then you don't ever want that edge to cross the line of disrespect, of taunting, of all the negative things that can come with playing with high passion, high intensity. For me personally, I've always been a fiery competitor. Those AJ, you played against me. I mean, you know, I enjoyed that part of it. But you have to, and this is something I'm learning, and I want to evolve every year as a coach as long as I do this. You have to treat everybody fair, but not the same. And you can't just have one method of coaching, and it can't just be yelling all the time. I'll transition here a little bit, not to avoid anything. You guys know me. I'll talk about anything, but
yeah, and you already have.
How I've had to learn to deal with refs. So in the NFL, as you guys know, we get up in their action, right? And they love it. Like it is, you're John and you're joking and you're trying to get a call and you're trying to manipulate them, and then you yell at them when they miss a call and they yell back at you. And then you get to the high school space, and I'm doing that year one, and these poor cats, you know, they're making $20 an hour, running up and down the field, sweating their butts off and breathing hard, and they're lawyers during the day and school teachers and truck drivers, and they're coming out at night just trying to do the best they can, and I'm just up in their grills and pointing out every mistake they're making. And then that off season, I'm like, you know, I like these guys. They're not doing anything, but I like the guys in the NFL too. But there was just an understanding in the NFL that you could do that. So year two, I was 92% better. I still had my 8% when they blow a call and it costs you a touchdown or costs you a sack or something. And then this year, I before every game, when I said the rest, I'm like, I want you to know I am a different human being. You will not hear from me tonight. I don't even talk to them now. I say hi before the game, high five, how's the family? Hey, we're going to stay back on our sideline. I've gotten after the coaches about getting in your way. If anything happens, come talk to me. I'll probably agree with you. So I've evolved that way. And I'm learning you have to just kind of treat every player different. Some players do. They need you to be intense with them at practice. They need that wake-up call. They need the, hey, Johnny, let's go. That's not good enough. And then there's the kids that just need you to put your arm around them and say, hey, what's going on today? That's a mistake. You know, usually don't make those type of mistakes. There's kids, you got to let it breathe a little bit. They have to have an emotional outlet. They're emotional players. They're gonna have some outbursts. Our tailback's a great example. He's one of the best players in America. He's so hard on himself. And when he makes a mistake, I know he's going to be harder on himself than I'm going to be, so I don't need to be hard on him. So I go over to him like, hey, you cool down yet? You good? You want to take a couple reps off? You want to get back in? So I really think one of the arts of coaching, one, you have to evolve. You have to own your mistakes when you make them. But two is you have to really study your people. And you got to know how a unique way of connecting with each one of them. Sometimes those connections come after mistakes, and the forgiveness piece and the going to that player and saying, listen, just because I'm the coach and I'm the authority figure doesn't mean I'm always right. And when I mess up, I want to be able to tell you I'm wrong.
Well, I appreciate you evolving as a coach and giving back to the sport and owning this entire thing. Why don't you stop beating up kids, though? All right.